The time has come for the lioness to tell her own story.
What do you have to tell the people about Rastafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. I left himself. Where's rightful ruler? Hey yo! Yeah, hail them high, hail the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy, who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your
I
night.
heard of that.
From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them comes without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill the lion we come conquer Judah tribe.
Who?
Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at it.
This is historic. I was telling someone this is the first time two Rastafari attorneys have had a reasoning on a platform like this in history. So we're gonna go deep. Cause remember, this is a repatriation we want to really touch on, because the woman that you see before you here is someone who's living repatriation. It's not just a chant or an idea. As I said, 4 hours up the road, but every time I see the eye is in Ghana. You know, this is how I and I, I and I connect. You know, and we've seen each other. You know, one and two or a few times since COVID. So active. You know, in terms of back and forth. So let's get forward to the immigration. What are some of the common challenges that face the Caribbean diaspora? These are some of the key things that you are letting people know that they are is battling day to day, and what things they need to do to prepare.
Well, a lot of times people enter the country without inspection. And if you enter without inspection, even if you marry a US citizen who subsequently files a petition for you, you're unable to adjust. You're on, and by adjustment of status means you're unable to get your green card while you're here because you have no entry. Now, if
Yes.
we can show there's something known as grandfathering, and if we can show that a petition was filed in your behalf before a certain date, which is April 30th of 2001, and you were physically present in the United States on December 21st, 2000, and a number of other things line up, then you'd be able to adjust under something known as 245I by paying a $1,000 penalty.
Okay.
Otherwise, if, let us say you're married to someone in the military,
Yes.
then you can do something known as parole in place. So you enter the country without inspection. You marry John Brown. A woman married John Brown. John Brown is in the army. Well, not just the army, the U.S. military, the army, the navy, the marine, the air force, the coast guard, whatever, right? Or he used to be. He's a vet, but he would have had to have had an honorable discharge
Yes.
in order for him to confer this benefit on you. So you'll be applying. So you enter the country. So I enter the country without inspection. I'm Marina Blake, and I come in, and I'm living here, and I meet John Brown, and John Brown is a veteran, of the U.S. Air Force, let's say, and so he files a petition for me. He
Mm-hmm.
files a petition for me, and after the petition has been approved, the next step is the adjustment of status. But I can't do that yet because I have no entry. I have no
Okay.
entry, right? I didn't get a visa. I didn't come in on a visa, and I wasn't paroled into the United States. So what I do is I apply for something known as parole in place because my husband is a veteran, right?
Okay.
Or let's say he has a child. My stepchild is currently enlisted. So I use that as the basis. So it's a legal fiction, right? So
Yes.
they grant you an entry. They pretend that you were admitted at the border, and they grant you, the I-94, which is the evidence of the admission or
Okay.
parole. That's right. And so they grant you that, and so now I'm able to adjust status in the United States without having to depart. In the event that I'm married to someone who is not a veteran and I have no claim to making an application for a PIP, parole in place, then the next best thing would be for me to apply for a provisional waiver and then travel abroad. Once the waiver has been approved, Because if you enter the United States and then you've been in the United States for a certain number of time, and then you subsequently depart, you have triggered something known as unlawful presence.
Okay.
Which means, and when if you leave the country unlawful presence, you're not able to come back for 3 years or for 10 years, depending on how long you stayed. Because even if you enter the U.S. on a visa and you overstay the visa, right, and you subsequently depart, you're unable to return. And so you need a waiver to overcome the unlawful presence. So you do the provisional waiver here, and then you travel abroad, and you visa process, and then you come back and you get your green card. So there are different ways to maneuver, and you have to look at the situation. You also have
No, I was gonna say, in this modern time, is that still common for people to be coming to America without any visa or any? Are you still seeing a lot of those cases in this modern time?
extremely common. I do not know how they do it, but there are ways and means. Listen, it is an entire industry built on people coming in without.
Wow.
I had a client many years ago. He was in deportation, and while you're in deportation, you're not supposed to leave the country. Otherwise, you'll be seen as self-deporting. And he said to me, oh, he wanted to go to Jamaica to look at some of his property or whatever. And I said to him, no, you cannot travel, and you must not travel. And I am talking to him, like a month or so later, and I'm hearing these like waves are, lashing against the rocks, and I said, whoa, you're not in New York. You sound like you're in a. And I said, like, sound like you're on an island, like a Caribbean island, maybe Jamaica, and he was silent. And I'm just saying to myself, oh my God. And of course, I can't say it. I'm not saying anything more. And then 2 weeks later, I see him, and he just there's a way.
There's a way.
There is
Wow.
there's a way. Yeah,
Wow.
it's an industry.
It's an industry, and it's so important because a lot of us, particularly Rastafari in America, have some connection with the Caribbean. This has been something that has plagued us in terms of development because a lot of brethren and sisters found themselves without status. Empress Marina has helped a lot of even ones that we know in our community have gone through, and she's been able to, help a lot of situations. So this is a woman that has so much love, a sister with so much love in the community because it's one of the greatest joys when you can adjust someone's status that they can now seek employment, they can now get a bank account. Talk about that.
Yes, it is so fulfilling. I mean, if you hear the praises that we get. There's this woman from Bangladesh who used to just call my daughter, and she doesn't speak English much, but her granddaughter would call, and just like in the morning, I said, my grandmother's praying for you, my grandmother, because she had a kid that had been languishing for years, and in fact, she has family members who are lawyers who are assisting her, and they couldn't get the case. They couldn't get it approved. Just denial after denial, and they contacted us, and we took over the case, and we got the woman her green card. We got the elderly woman her green card, and so we get a plethora of cases now from these Bangladeshi lawyers. They just send us cases that they used to grapple with that they cannot manage because they really don't do immigration law. They do personal injury. But as I said, a lot of times people are misled. They think that immigration is simple, that it is not complicated. And if you can read and fill out a form, you're fine. And it is anything but. It is anything but the jazz match.
Well,
in fact, yesterday, the jazz match Lord contacted me.
Yes.
He said to me, I have a case for you. He said, this one is above my pay grade, so I'm sending it to you.
Yes, and that is what we do. She's referring to our other colleague, the Chasmatch George, who I work closely with at the Rose Law Firm, Rastafari owned law firm. And we send all of the immigration cases to Empress Marina.
The difficult ones. The
Chasmatch George
one.
immigration as well. But the challenging ones, we send them because, as I say, one of the top immigration attorneys in the country, and she's Rastafari. So this is something that we can feel proud about as Rastafari family globally. And this is why I wanted to bring Empress Marina here on the Lion Voice Network because we don't want to hide this. There might be a young sister watching this, out of the 5 sisters that watch the channel, because there's mostly brethren, but there might be a young sister watching and say, you know what, I can do that. I can do that as well. And this is why it's so important, because our children are online. They're not on the corner. They're not, with us anymore. So we have to highlight these things online. Now,
them could never conquer the mountains. Thousands of years and counting. Ethiopia rise again unto the world. Now we are announcing. Them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. When the trumpet sound and the violence cease, how we say one go build up the cities. Well, them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. Rastafari crown as the Prince of Peace. Him tell the youths them fi build up them countries. Well, solar energy that them a see. The whole city powered by the sun's energy. The road them make out of hemp and concrete. Neighborhoods full of fruit trees that taste sweet. The youths put down them guns, them harvest and a reap. The beautiful gardens will line every street. Tired of the bloodshed, them done with the beef. Not even animals for that, them burn out the meat. Where people say Haile Selassie, I see Nile. When they see say him a treat the dirt like a child. Peace on earth from the banks of the Nile. That's why we giving thanks in style. See say Babylon a weapon, them a stockpile. Babylon a wicked, kill them brother and smile. Iron, lion, Babylon a reptile. Them a plant fish, shed blood, we got plans for the soil.